In a French basilica, there's a cloth covering part of the wall, and no one can agree on that cloth. It's not a restoration, and it's not a technical problem. That simple piece of cloth is sparking discussion throughout the French church, and the debate has reached Rome. But the reason is not at all what it seems at first glance. Because the point isn't so much what that tarp covers, it's when it's put up, and above all, how long it will stay there. Yesterday, the Vatican published the program for Leo XIV's trip to France, Paris, Lourdes, and Metz from September 25th to 28th. The Pope will arrive in Lourdes on Saturday the 26th and celebrate Mass on Sunday the 27th, on the lawn in front of the grotto. It will be the first visit by a pontiff to the sanctuary in 18 years, and he will be the third pope welcomed there. And inside the Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary, for the entire weekend, the mosaics will remain covered. They were created by former Jesuit Marco RUPNIK. To truly understand what that cloth means, we have to go back 18 years, to a time when no one imagined any of this. 2008. The sanctuary commissioned RUPNIK to create mosaics for the 150th anniversary of the apparitions to Bernadette Soubirous. They depict the luminous mysteries of the Rosary, instituted by John Paul II in 2002. At the time, he was one of the most celebrated sacred artists in the world, in demand everywhere. The accusations against him would only become public 14 years later. 2022. Jean-Marc Mikas is installed as Bishop of Tarbes and Lourdes. He doesn't yet know that that wall will become the most difficult issue of his episcopate. February 12, 2023, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Mikas remembers the exact moment. He meets an Englishwoman who welcomes pilgrims to the baths, where many seek healing. She herself has suffered abuse. She explains that many women come to Lourdes precisely for this reason, and that after the accusations against RUPNIK, it became impossible for some to get in. She wasn't angry, the bishop says. She was very serious, very calm. He calls that meeting a profound moment between them, and that's where the rest of this story begins. 6 months later, he met with some of RUPNIK's alleged victims. They told him that what they had suffered occurred during the creation of the mosaics, in the very places where they were being created. This gave me a new perspective on our Lord's mosaics, Mikas says. Those two conversations became the foundation for the decision he would make 2 years later. March 2025. The bishop had the mosaics on the basilica's doors covered, and within hours, the news spread around the world. He, however, is keen to point out a detail that almost no one has reported. The mosaics in Lourdes aren't that big at all, he says. I only covered the doors of the basilica. Outside of Lourdes, only one other major shrine in the world has done the same. The National Shrine dedicated to John Paul II in Washington. All the others have left their works where they are. May 2026. LifeSite News confirms that the works are once again fully visible inside the basilica. This is the point from which the entire discussion today arises. July 2026. Rumors circulate of RUPNIK's acquittal in the ongoing canonical trial. The Holy See press office denies them. The case is still being evaluated. July 24th. Mikas gives a long interview to OSV News and is asked what would happen to the mosaics if the judges ultimately found him guilty of no canonical crime. The answer is perhaps the most weighty sentence in this whole affair. It's not that simple, he says, a judgment of guilt or innocence. And he continues, innocence would mean saying that all the people who said what they said were liars, and I don't believe they were. August 6th, just 2 days ago, OSV News reveals that 22 previously unpublished letters have become part of the ongoing canonical process in the Vatican. They were written at Easter in 2000 by the nuns of the Loyola community in Slovenia, after the superior asked the 40 nuns to write directly to RUPNIK. It was a jubilee gesture. They were to recount what had happened and offer forgiveness. 22 of those letters instead describe psychological, spiritual, and sexual abuse. They are preserved in the community archives, now held by the Archdiocese of Ljubljana. The full contents have never been made public, 26 years later. Yesterday, August 7th, the Vatican published the trip's program, and Luigi Casalini responded in Messine Latino with an article with the blunt headline, "Unacceptable Half Measures." His thesis is this: covering those mosaics with cloths only when the Pope arrives demonstrates an inability to take a serious position on the issue. He also recalls that there is a 150-page dossier on alleged abuses committed between 1985 and 2018. This is his reconstruction, and it must be attributed to him. Those who think like Casalini have a simple reasoning. If those works are a problem when the Pope sees them, they're a problem every other day of the year too. And the pilgrims who come to Lourdes the rest of the year are exactly the same. The sick, families, the elderly, and even people who carry wounds of that kind within themselves. Mikas, however, responds on a different level, and his reasons deserve to be reported in full. He says he wants to move forward step by step without forcing things. "I don't want to cause some kind of fear in the church and add violence to violence." He argues that changing a culture takes a very long time because it is precisely a question of culture. Regarding bishops who have not done the same in their sanctuaries, he limits himself to saying, "I am not in their conscience, nor in the reasons for their decisions or their inactions." He adds that he received considerable criticism for that decision, and that many of those who opposed it at the time have since changed their minds. "I'm confident this conversion is possible for many others." In the same interview, he adds that a bishop must listen to those who have suffered without saying a word, even when they start screaming. And if you want to cry, cry with them. When asked if this has happened to him, he replies, "Oh yes, several times." The Pope is clear. He did not choose Lourdes for this reason, but to be a pilgrim, as all pastors of the church do when they go there. He recounts that when he invited him, the Pope immediately responded, "Oh yes, I will come, because Lourdes is Lourdes." No calculations, he said, and no hidden message. So, there remain two readings of the same shroud. For some, it's a gradual step forward in a painful matter. For others, it's a temporary covering, which ends when the visit ends. Meanwhile, the Vatican has confirmed that during his trip, Leo will meet with people who have suffered abuse by the clergy, and the meeting will be organized by them, not by the Holy See or the Episcopal Conference. On September 27th, the sanctuary will be able to welcome up to 170,000 pilgrims to the grotto, and inside the basilica, a sheet will be draped over the wall for the entire weekend. We don't know the names of those 22 women. We only know that in 2000, they sat down to write because they had been asked to forgive, and that those pages ended up in an archive. If you're praying the rosary on September 27th, whether in front of a television or in church, include them there too. To pray for someone, you don't need to know their name. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.